Good morning.
Grand Rising. How are ya?
Very good, very good. Southern California kind of gloomy today, but it's still good weather. Can't
Oh
complain yet.
my goodness. Well,
Yeah,
I am finally in the happy zone of Vegas weather. I have my early morning walk,
very nice.
and the weather it's perfect. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, nice breeze. Ah, this is the happy place. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it's running to August and we getting into the autumn weather, right? I don't know. You
Yeah.
just probably just have two weathers, right? Summer
No,
and
it seems
winter.
like, well, I think the spring or this kind of transition is really nice. So coming into summer as well as I guess exiting summer is really
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Uh,
Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wealth Doctors. I'm Dr. Stephanie Ardrey, and with me is Dr. Andrea Le. And this is where we discuss with you financial strategies using insurance and other vehicles to help you not only with your personal financial goals, but also to help you to plant seeds and hopefully foster the creation of generational wealth. Each week, we find a topic that we think might be of interest and share that information with you. Again, we're not giving you legal, business, finance, or any other advice. We're sharing examples and information pertaining to our respective interest, experiences, and examples that we've come across that might be useful in presenting to you. So today, we are focused on
Saving.
saving,
Saving. Yeah. Save for a better tomorrow, right?
saving.
Savings. Yes.
So savings are very interesting. So I'm loving this conversation because it's so funny. I was listening to Alibaba, the story of Jack Ma, and some of the business interest and just his impact and just the journey. I listen often to a lot of CEOs, especially along their journeys to success. Kissing frogs and building a company from the scratch. Requires you to make a lot of sacrifices, and so
It
I
is.
do, as you know, I'm in that bucket of sacrificing. So it's always encouraging to know that if you keep on, you'll get to the other side.
Exactly. And, when we talk about retirements or planning for retirement, a lot of people don't have a clear picture of what you want, right? Or what they want. So it's important that you establish a clear picture. What is the date of your retirement? How do you save? Calculate how much income you need for the retirement years or when you're approaching retirement. And, create a strategy that implements and also grow your money and watch out for the portfolio, the risk, and target date to make sure all of that in place. Because if close to retirement, if you have majority of your funds in the market or stock market, that is a lot of risk. I mean, risk is good, but too much risk is not good, right? So you have to adjust and also to modify according to your target date of retirement and how many years you have left until your retirement. So diversify your portfolio, whether it's the stock, bonds, mutual funds, insurance vehicle that help you to accumulate cash to build up for retirement funds or supplement your retirement funds. So there's a way. I don't know if anybody, some people that I talk to are not aware of the ssa.gov. It's a website that you can log on, and I would recommend everyone um, should do this because you log on a website, you can see exactly, create an account for yourself. It's a government website. And you can monitor the income reported in the past years, and now also see the projection whether if you are retiring at 62, which is early retirement, 67 or 70. And usually at early retirement, you could lose about 30% of your income if you should retire early at 62. 67 is a full retirement age. So you can work that into your budget see where you are, the total income, the supplemental income, also provisional income, just so you can strategize your tax for that tax purpose, especially for those folks that have a lot of 401k and you have to RMD, which is, you know, a large amount. You could pay a lot of taxes. So, you know, if you plan that in advance, you can reduce that tax liability and also help to maximize the growth for yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's definitely important. And but not only is there a desire to kind of figure out the savings part of your strategy, but where do you save? Because the
Where do you
traditional
save? Mhm.
don't keep up with inflation. So I was explaining to someone yesterday that, you know, if you have a large sum of funds sitting in a bank, the money is basically vanishing every day that it's there. So you need to understand and explore other options, you know, where to put the money so that it can actually not only have an opportunity to grow, but even compounding is even better.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, we use an analogy. If you depend on an orange tree to live, would you plant that tree in Florida or Alaska? Where would you plant that tree? Right. So you want to plant in a place, of course, Florida, because that's going to yield the most fruit for you. And so as your retirement uh, nest egg, where do you save that money that can help you compound interest? We want to talk about interest upon interest earning. The money that you're paying to tax every year, you know, and that could compound the interest as well. So a lot of people like CD and, you know, saving in the bank. The CD will probably, you know, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you have to tie your money up. But every year in a CD, you have to pay the tax, right, for the interest that you earn. Now, there are vehicles out there that can help you compound that interest that you earn. Instead of paying to the IRS, that money can be compounded each year, interest earning upon interest, interest earning upon the amount that you could have paid to the IRS. You see, so there are, like, you know, money earning interest on the money. So it's different ways to strategize it. You know, last week we were talking about indexing, right?
Yeah.
So indexing will allow you to invest and also protect your principal, uh, regardless if the market goes down or drop negatives. You don't lose your principal. Whatever you earn is locked in each year. So that's kind of nice to have a zero floor, right?
And
Especially.
I'm not sure that people fully understand what that means, because I don't think people realize that if you have your money in the stock or if your money is in a mutual fund,
Mhm.
it's riding the roller coaster ride, usually in terms of increases as well as decreases. So, depending upon how you're participating in the markets, will determine how your retirement plans, your funds are growing or depreciating in value. So if you have an opportunity to place your money someplace where, all right, you participate in the gains, but if there's losses, you just stay where you are until there's gains again. I mean, those types of scenarios are what you're looking for, because again, if you're not directly controlling your money, you're paying an enormous amount in fees that a lot of times are hidden in the cost that you don't realize. So you're not even getting the full benefit of what your money could do for you. You're getting fractional returns as it is. So you definitely don't want to ride the roller coaster of losses in addition to that. That's why it seems like it takes forever for your money to grow.
Exactly. And the money that you're paying tax yearly, let's say the CD that you're gaining at 5% interest, but you know, if you have 100,000, you get 5% is what? Um, you know, that amount that you're going to pay tax on that amount. So at the end, how much interest are you gaining from that? If, you
Well,
know,
especially if
majority,
inflation is around, 5%, you're still at zero.
yeah, 5%, and then you have to pay tax on that. So how much are you really earn on that? So And you know, the CD is good in a way that it give you liquidity, access to the money when you need right away. Um, so there are different vehicles that you can incorporate into your plan. But essentially, if you save for retirement, so let's say if you're making $100,000 now, experts say that you need about 70 to 80% of your income, average about 85% of your income for retirement. So say if you make 100,000 right now, you want to estimate to have at least 85,000 income for your retirement. So that could include your Social Security, your 401k, your IRA, your if you have rentals, properties, or you have other sources of incomes. You can add them all up together and predict. There's a way to forecast, forecast the retirement income. If anybody interested, reach out to us. We can help you to forecast your retirement income and know exactly where you are and where you're going to be. That way you have a clear picture in terms of numbers. That way you can work backward. If you're going to need 85,000 to retire, how do you get there? How much, potential Social Security that you would get at retirement, and how much your investment, if you have certain amount now, how much is the projection going to be in the future? And we have calculation for all of that, and we can help you to establish a plan, and so that you can have a clear picture of where you're heading. And 40 American, like last week, we also talked about this, 44% American worry that they're never able to retire because they have not saved enough, right? And it is an all-time high, because that is, almost half of Americans are not ready to retire or not saving enough to set aside. And, when we talk about financial securities, people think, you have to have a lot of money to feel secure, but it's not.
Yeah.
Financial security can be closer than you think, because, it's not how much you make, it's how much you save that matter. Because, the more you make, automatically, the more you spend, right? So
I think it depends, but no, you're right. Consumerism is big, and so a lot of people
right.
do. Exactly. They increase their spending as their earnings increase, and so they find themselves on a constant treadmill, right? It's like
We adjust our lifestyle, right? Because you make a
right,
little bit more money, you think you have more
right,
money, you will
right.
we adjust the lifestyle up a little bit. So I have a friend that she loves Starbucks. She has to have a Starbucks cup, cup of coffee every single day.
Wow.
And Starbucks nowadays, what, $7, $8 now, right? It's not,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
what?
When I tell people, I'm like, are you kidding me? You're telling me that you can't afford to commit to a wellness week for your priceless body, but you can have a Starbucks. Some people twice a day. You could have a
Yeah,
Starbucks every day, and you can do this, and you need this, all these other things. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much money you spend. I mean, these days, but people don't pay attention to that. I
yeah.
mean, on average, somebody is spending probably between $3,000 and $5,000 a year just on Starbucks.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that you have to cut your Starbucks out completely, go cold turkey, but at least if you're gonna pinch some money from there and save it toward your retirement, we're talking about $4 or $5 a day,
Yeah, yeah,
reasonable, right? If you
absolutely.
have the ability to save more, why not? But $5 a day for yourself, for your future self, for your income, and pay yourself first. Because we go into work, we pay everyone else. We pay bills, we pay mortgage, we pay credit cards, we pay everyone's, but you don't pay yourself. So you got to pay yourself first, whether it's just $5 a day or $10 a day, but begin religiously. Do it religiously and set it up and set it aside so you don't think about it. Make it automatic, right? And put
Absolutely.
it into a plan that help it grows for you, not just put it in the bank and it just sit there. If you saving $500 a month, that's 6,000 a year, right? For example, if you have 6,000 a year sitting in the bank, it's just going to be 6,000 a year. You get very minimal, even saving account, very minimal gain on interest, 0.001%. That's really is zero, right?
Yeah.
So trying to find the vehicles that help you to grow that money more efficiently and also beat the inflation and also protect you when you need it. So, they were talking about 25% of folks that in their 60 could not last more than 3 months off their saving if, they lose their jobs or anything like that. So, and it is an all-time high as well. So how do you overcome that? Little habits that we can tweak and implement into our life. That way you can save better. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely learned the hard way that, shifts in, your journey can impact your outcomes. And so
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
definitely have to look ahead and plan ahead. And you have to realize that life happens. And, how are you going to put yourself in a position of being protected, but also recognize that the cost of your dollars decline every single day. So you want to really be proactive and look for, not only what you have, it's where do you have it so that it's working for you as opposed to you have it. And it's just there. I heard the most incredible story. In fact, when I first heard it, I almost thought this couldn't possibly be true. But
Mhm.
literally, I met someone who told me about having a safe with something like, $12 million or more in the safe in cash because their business generates a lot of cash, and the safe catching on fire and all of that money burning to ashes in the
Is
safe.
there a fireproof safe?
I
Is
don't
there
know,
one?
but literally the thing
How would
is,
fireproof? You're gonna put the money in the
the
safe?
fire was so big that literally there's a YouTube clip of the whole building that went up in flames, and
Oh
all their
my
merchandise and all
God.
that stuff. So it was like a huge, 4 alarm fire that happened. And so imagine
Wow.
having the video footage and knowing all your cash that literally went up in flames with all of your inventory and all of your business. Some people will usually jump right after that and not even bother, trying to rebuild. But, again, it's that same idea, wow. A lot of times people think, again, when you have the money, it's coming fast, that it's always going to be that scenario. It's like, not always.
Yeah.
Unforeseen circumstances happen all the time. So you want to prepare for those situations because, again, that's what they are. They're unforeseen. And so how do you hedge your bet and then how do you get your money to work for you? Because if you're working so hard,
Exactly.
yeah,
You work all these years, you work very hard for your money. Now put your money at work because
yeah.
your money can work for you as well. So leverage that and grow more. What do you think the biggest concerns of the retirees at the retirement year? What's the biggest you think?
Outliving their money. If they outlive their money and have to go back to work.
Exactly. Because, if you at retirement 65, 70, and you're running out of money, then, I just talked to someone recently. She's 67 and she's going back to work because the income that she has from Social Security, pension, it isn't enough for her.
Mhm.
Because the cost of living is going up, right? So we have to adjust that. So the biggest concern is running out of money at retirement years. So it's important that you know exactly what other source of retirement income is going to be. Is it from, lifetime income could be from annuities, social security, or pensions.
Mhm.
So know about your pension. I'm going to share with you a list of the website in the so that you can look up to see if you have pension and you can calculate how much it is, and also saving like CDs or saving accounts. Is it earning? You have a full-time job or part-time job? Any other asset available like real estate and rental income? So make sure you sit down and calculate all of that, and which source of money is coming from that is going to fund your retirement, and how can you maximize each source to let it grow for you and protect that money to make sure not a penny lost to the stock market if your money is in the stock market, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of people, like I would say about 38, according to the survey, 38% of people couldn't save because they have too much expenses.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
So
so in that
imagine,
case, consolidation might be a great, idea to consider, consolidating. And also in some cases, I think sometimes people realize the opportunities for deductions if it is that they, have a side business or are doing things that would be, considered expenses that would be treated as business or professional development expenses. So again, oftentimes it's how are you carrying the debt for the things that you're doing to advance? Because if you reduce
exactly.
it a certain way, then it helps to, increase the outcomes. It reduces your tax liability, which gives you back some of your money.
One of the biggest concern that a lot of people have is paying too much tax, right? So
Yeah,
one of the biggest concerns is tax. So nobody wants to pay more tax than you have to,
sure.
right? And how can you reduce that tax liability? So if you're going to get your tax done every year, make sure you look through your tax. A lot of people are just putting so much time into work, and when it's come to filing their taxes, they just push that to the CPA and say, do your job. But sometimes you may look over your tax and questions, why is this deduction is not applied, just to have a better understanding, and how can you maximize that deduction to help you reduce the tax liability. And I know people that just like, okay, just do my tax, whatever it is, get it done with. But that's where you can save your money, by carefully look at your taxes and try to implement what you have learned, and save, and also have all the expenses ready so that your CPA can take a look at it and see where the most deduction they can apply for you.
And understand what allocations you can make. Because a lot of times I was explaining to someone yesterday, again, about financing their company. And I said, listen, if you're just doing tax filings and you're letting your CPA or bookkeeper or accountant, who's ever doing your taxes, file with losses every year after year after year, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because your business will not be financed as if all you have are losses. You can mitigate your taxes by using brilliant strategies, acquiring other assets. That's the dirty little secret. That's the reason that you see a billionaire able to mitigate their taxes. And you're thinking, how are they able? Because they're using what would be taxable income, and they allocate it in assets that create value. So, one of the things I was advising a client that works with artists, and saying, listen, it's been known and seen, for example, that law firms, big corporate CEOs, come, end of the year, first quarter of the year before their tax filings, if it looks like they're going to have a tax liability, guess what they go and do? Buy art, because the
Mm.
art is tax deductible, but it's a new asset that's going to appreciate in value. Win-win, duh. I remember that happened to me one year. I was going to have a huge tax bill, and my CPA said, you probably need to buy another house right about now anyway. And the expenses of that purchase will wipe away that tax bill. And so, I was able to make an informed decision to decide who you want to pay. You want to pay the IRS, or you want to pay yourself? Okay, buy another house. Um, Duh, no brainer. you know, get her done, right? And then you actually have the opportunity in some cases, if you have real estate, to accelerate the depreciation. There's a number of strategies. Again, understanding each situation is a unique set of situations, but this is where you must understand how to plan a strategy. You can't do outdated strategies because that's what you heard, or that's what your parents did, or that's
Yeah.
what your parents did. Those strategies are not going to take you through the current market environments. We're not living in the same times. We're not living in the same market environments. And the future is not the same set of circumstances. So you must gain insight and information. And
Yeah.
people, well, I don't know where to go. It's like, but you GTS, you Google everything else, you reach out to everything else. Are you even looking for the information? Because you're right, if you're not even looking for it, ask, seek, find. If you're not even exploring it, one thing I can guarantee you is you won't know, and you won't have, for sure.
You won't find it if you don't seek,
Find it.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, the plans that available 10, 20 years ago, even 10, 5 years ago, plans are updated, interest rate are changing constantly, products updates available that you can modify, you can update, you can adjust your existing plan to make it better. Because a car that was 20 years ago versus a car in 2024, you see a huge change. Right now is everything is automatic. Back then you have to crank the window to open or to close. So now even the phone that you have, it's been updated. I remember I had a phone, a really old phone. It was like back then it's like a hand phone that you have at home, but it's a mobile phone. It's a
Mhm.
mobile phone. It's not even smartphone yet. So one time I brought it out to my phone dealer and I said, I want a new plan, a new phone. And he looked at my phone and he's like, what is this phone coming from? Is this from the Ice Age? Because it's so old, so you need to update your plan. You need to update products to make it better, to improve your life. And you're not sure how to do this, we can help you through that process. We can give you information, we can guide you through that process, and that way we want to add values to you. So after this I will post it's a state retirement system calculation, the website for each state, so that you can have access and look at the you have pension or know how to calculate your retirement. That way give you more information and snapshot of what you see, what your potential retirement is.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, so another thing is, you want to ask at retirement, what retirement benefit will you get beside the income? Because if you just depend solely on the income, what about protection, life insurance in events? Because when you get to 65, well, we don't know what the expiration date on ourselves, right? Or we don't know when we're gonna get sick. So have a plan to protect you. There are a lot of insurance out there that now offer living benefits that protect you in events of medical illness like stroke, heart attack, terminal illness like cancer, or chronic conditions, long-term care. Because when you get to 65 or during the retirement years, that's when we start our bodies, you start feeling it, right? So
Yeah.
have all these plans in place to help you improve. Yeah.
Yeah, well, chronic care, I was just sharing with someone yesterday about the rise of early dementia cases between those in the age range of 35 to 45 years of age. So that's not typically the age or stage in the career where you may have, nowhere near retirement age. And so if you come down with dementia, that type of chronic condition, you can live a very long time, but you still need assistance. And
Oh, you need assistance. Yes.
unfortunately, the care facilities, 7,500 a month for a bed, basic care. Bottom of the level care, 4,500 a month. And if you want care that actually may help you address the condition, $15,000 a month for a bed, and that option has a 3-year waiting period. So imagine if you at 35 now have dementia, you could live 40 years. Where are you going to live? At somewhere between 4,500 and 15,000 now in today's dollars a month for a bed for your care. You may not have had an
And how
opportunity.
much do you get from Social Security?
You're not, it's not you. If you
Would it
only
be enough? We
how
don't
long
know.
have you even been working in a career to have contributed? So the
Right.
reality is your option is to hopefully have had, before you have an existing case, some type of life policy that offered you some living benefits, and that's a serious consideration, because again, you just don't know. And it's really sad because I see more and more, every day I'm hearing from someone, losing a loved one, and the numbers sadly are younger and younger and younger. It's almost like we applaud when we see someone that made it to 90, to 100. It's like, okay, they hit it into the park of, what real full life looks like, right? It's a celebration for real. But when you hear somebody 35 or 45, 55, 65, if retirement is 67, you at least want to live beyond retirement, right? So you spent all this time working, you're not going to at least get another decade beyond retirement to, do whatever else you thought about doing with your life, your time. Yeah, it's important to consider, and it's important to prepare. And preparation is in advance of an incident that happens, just like faith.
Right.
Activating your faith, the same thing. It's you realize before so that you can have something manifest in your tomorrows.
Right. We are running out of time, but I just want to leave some, last points about saving for better tomorrow. So make savings your top priority. So how do you do that? Ask yourself a question: are you saving enough for tomorrow right now? Will your retirement money, will you outlive your retirement money? So take that into consideration. And what percentage of your final salary would be for you to living on, right? And now, if you're making you're taking home a salary, set aside a percentage, or set aside a portion of that money to pay yourself first. And do you have a retirement gap? So retirement gap is there a gap between what you save for your retirement and the amount that you would want and need for your retirement? So how to figure out that gap? We do have calculation on how to help you figure that out. So reach out to us. We can help you do an income forecast and also a gap analysis report. That way you can, see exactly where you are and where you're heading. Have a clear picture. This is very, very important, that help you to see and achieve, better for the retirement years.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, as usual, I think it was a great conversation. Hopefully, we shared a few nuggets that you can use, or at least begin to explore and contemplate, and have your antenna up to research and gain more insight on. Guess what? If it's Wednesday, it's 10 a.m. Pacific time. Join us. There's another episode of Wealth Doctors we're presenting. Again, signing off, Dr. Stephanie Ardrey and Dr. Andrea Le, and we will see you next Wednesday. Take care.
Yeah.